front squats are better than back squats. Come at me, bro. What's up, guys? Enkiri here, and today we're going to talk about front squats versus back squats. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly why front squats are the vastly superior exercise. Now, before I get into the video, I do also want to mention, be sure to tune in for next Friday's video as well, where I will be breaking down in painstaking scientific detail precisely why back squats are superior to front squats. But today, front squats are going to be the supreme squatting movement that the real Chads and Kings focus on. And here are my 3 big reasons why. Reason number 1 is quad stimulation. Now, when we squat for leg development, that is, when we're using squatting movements with the goal of building muscle in the legs and improving the force production capacity of the legs, we want to focus on keeping as much of the tension from the loading on the legs as we possibly can. It sounds very obvious when you say it, but a lot of people don't squat that way, right? So think of the way that an athlete or an Olympic weightlifter would want to squat, right? Now, these are the populations who are using the squat as a means to an end, a way to enhance their general leg capacity so that it will transfer over into other activities. And we can compare this kind of on the other end of a spectrum to, say, a power lifter for whom the squat is not a means to an end, but rather it is an end in and of itself. And in this case, the way that you are squatting becomes somewhat irrelevant to you, because now the only thing that matters is how much weight is on the bar within the confines of the rules of the game. So that's how very low bar, very hip dominant styles of squatting can become encouraged in an endeavor such as powerlifting, because it does let many people move more weight by transferring much of the load onto the hips and onto the back. And basically, all of this to say that when you compare the front squat to the back squat, it's basically impossible to create this excessively hip-dominant style of squatting, deliberately or otherwise, during a front squat. The hips and the shoulders are forced to rise in unison, and the torso is forced to remain relatively vertical throughout the movement when performing a front squat. This means that the bulk of the tension has to remain on the quads. It cannot be shifted onto the hips and onto the back. As such, the legs will grow bigger and stronger in the most efficient fashion possible. Now, that is not to say that you can't perform a back squat in this same fashion or relatively this same fashion, but it is to say that there is a large operable difference in place in that with a back squat, the movement has to be willfully performed this way. Whereas with a front squat, there simply is no other choice, or the bar just rolls off the front of your shoulders, right? Now, performing the front squat in the zombie style with no hand support simply amplifies this effect. There is even less margin during a zombie front squat compared to a regular front squat. Reason number 2 is upper back stimulation. I have said for years now that front squats are low-key the greatest upper back strengthening exercise in existence, and that is by way of creating massive strength in the thoracic extensors, the big meaty muscles that run up and down either side of your spine into the upper back region. So how does this happen? Due to the anterior loaded position of the bar on the shoulders, that is, having the bar on the front of your shoulders as you squat instead of on the back. With that, the thoracic extensor muscles in the upper back must learn how to resist an extreme force that's trying to pull them forward into flexion. They must resist that by remaining rigidly extended against very large stresses and resistances, right? And over time, these muscles are going to become incredibly strong at resisting this type of force. And as such, their capacity for extension will become immensely strong as well. You do have to be patient though. In my experience, it took many, many years for me to become strong enough through the thoracic region that I mostly stopped experiencing that upper back collapsing that you see a lot of people contending with on tough front squats. It still does happen to me sometimes, but much less frequently and to much less of a degree than it used to happen. And with proper programming, which isn't a luxury that I followed in my youth, I do think that this process could happen much, much faster. Either way, your upper back can never be too strong, and front squats build a special type of brute strength up there that's really difficult to replicate elsewhere, in my opinion. And this effect is actually going to transfer over pretty strongly and pretty directly into a stronger deadlift as well. In my opinion, front squats are a very, very good assistance movement for the deadlift. So if that is something that interests you, that's just another benefit there as well. And reason number 3, final reason of the day, is the upper body mobility demands. Now, some people are going to tell you that this is a negative aspect of front squatting, but that is a myopic perspective, in my opinion. As you get older and older, I think most of you are going to grow to appreciate things that can kill 2 birds with 1 stone in the gym. And front squats make you strong, very strong, while also ensuring that the majority of the upper body remains supple and mobile in the process as well, right? The wrists, the elbows, the thoracic spine, and the lats all come into play here to varying and important extents. In fact, the only upper body joint that doesn't really get worked through an adequate range of motion during a front squat is the shoulders. But basically, front squats require that you have adequate mobility through the thoracic spine. You have to have adequate thoracic extension mobility. If your upper back is kyphotic and immobile, you have that slumped forward positioning and you can't get out of it, then you will not be able to attain strong or efficient positioning for your front squats. So now you must not only be able to extend those muscles very, very strongly and aggressively, right? We're getting that strength enhancing aspect, but you must also be able to do so in an adequately mobilized position as well. So that is 2 birds with 1 stone right there, right? Strength and mobility being enhanced simultaneously and complementary to each other in many respects as well. And here we're also directly combating that upper back kyphosis, the shoulder slump forward nerd posture that's prolific in 2023, in part due to excessive time spent slumped over staring at a computer screen like I'm doing right now. In addition to this, during a proper front squat, the elbows must be able to comfortably reach and hold a fully bent position, and the wrists must be able to extend back to a very large degree comfortably under load as well. Now, with the humerus held high and parallel to the floor at all times, the elbows fully bent, and the thoracic spine locked in a rigidly extended position, suddenly the demands on lat mobility become quite high as well. If your lats are stiff and immobile, then this position is actually quite difficult to maintain as you descend into a deep squat position. And actively trying to hold that position encourages suppleness through all of these muscles and joints as you build monstrous strength in your legs and upper back at the same time. Now we got that efficiency aspect coming into play as well. And that pretty much sums it up, guys. All that to say, front squats are freaking awesome. They're probably my favorite squatting exercise in existence. And those are my 3 big reasons why I think that they are superior to back squats. And I do want to note before closing here today that, as always, when I make a video like this, I am being a bit facetious, right? Front squats are not better than back squats, and vice versa as well. Push-ups are not better than bench press, and vice versa as well. Every movement has its own value, its own set of positives, and its own set of negatives or potential drawbacks that come along with it as well. And what really works the best for anybody really boils down to their goals, their individual anthropometry and mobility levels, relative strengths and weaknesses, injury history, etc., etc. Everything really comes down to the individual. The point of these videos is to highlight the major positives of these specific movement variations so that you can better understand why you may want to include a specific movement in your program in the future and the exact benefits that you will get from doing so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you did find it helpful, please be sure to share it around and spread the good word, guys. Please remember to smash the like button before you go. Leave me some love in the comments down below. Check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs. And as always, keep training hard. I will catch you guys next time.